I designed the Proteavirus. Oh, I'm so happy to see all of the work I did. Ah! What are you? Hostile, apparently. Hello, lab rats! Welcome back to the laboratory. Yeah, I was about to talk about some of the work I did science consulting on this game. Basically, to keep it simple, I, some years back, met Seth Dickinson, who is this game's senior narrative designer, through an online hard sci-fi writing community, because I also write hard science fiction. And one day, we get into a conversation about his quote-unquote new project that he couldn't talk in much detail about, but wanted some like feedback on some stuff. And so I gave a bunch of ideas, and he was very impressed with them, and basically asked if I was free to be brought on as like a paid science consultant for the game. In terms of what work I did, it was fairly typical like specialist consultant work where you get like handed things from the game and like are asked if you have any advice to give on it. Like, is this accurate? Does this work? But I also contributed like a lengthy lore document about some aspects of microbiology and molecular biology that are very relevant to the game's plot and setting, which I'm excited to see how they're realized. Anyways, my field of study is bioinformatics. It is the study of biomolecular data through the lens of computational analysis, which is to say I study DNA and proteins and stuff, except on the computer instead of in the lab. Another thing to note before we begin, I am severely thalassophobic. I am deeply afraid of the ocean. Oh, I hate that, I hate that, I hate that cliff, I hate that cliff, I should not look at that cliff. It's not like a fear of like sea creatures. Don't expect like screaming when I see like a big leviathan or something. It's more like fear of heights, where if I look down and I cannot see below me, I freak out. Underwater vertigo, that's pretty much what it is. And yeah, afraid of the deep is a better way to put it than afraid of the ocean. I'm afraid of deep water, and it is like the deep water itself and not like the stuff that could be in it. I will also offer a disclaimer. I am not employed by Unknown Worlds at the moment, and when I was employed by them, it was in a like sort of ancillary contractor role. I do not have in-depth knowledge of the development process, and my opinions do not represent those of Unknown Worlds. However, if you do go see the credits, you will find my name in there under special thanks, in case you're wondering whether I'm just lying about this or not. Highly pressurized air is destroying your lungs, adaptation required. Oh yeah, this is part of what I was working on. The like genetic modification shit. Sorry, regarding pressure tolerance, there's nothing per se about atmospheric pressure that will kill you. However, you will suffer inert gas toxicity at sufficient pressures if it's a gas other than like helium, which is why they have to use helium in like the super pressurized vessels. Oh, I'm not like going to say anything about stuff that's not in the game, just to be clear.
I wish I could make full introductions, but courtesies must wait. We are both going to die if we stay here.
So right off the bat, this narrative is much more serious than like Subnautica 1.
Under 60 atmospheres of pressure, oxygen becomes a neurotoxin. Nitrogen levels saturate your flesh and pry your joints apart.
This is correct, by the way.
But if things go wrong, I am authorized to print a QIO2 for troubleshooting.
Oh wait, I remember a conversation. Yeah, okay, I remember a conversation with the senior narrative designer about like Eclipse phase body sleeving stuff. I just forgot about it until now. Wait, how do I swim down? Okay, so yeah, this isn't necessarily... Looking down there is setting off my thalassophobia. Like I said, it's the vertigo that gets me.
Lifepod release. Trajectory error.
Oh, we're going deeper. Okay.
Collision.
Oh,
Thrusters disabled. Clearing main thrusters. Stand by.
Oh,
Thruster function restored. Brace for corrective reorientation.
I'm like fully disassociating to not panic looking down into the abyss there.
Obstructions detected. Increasing thrusters. Releasing parachute. Error. Release firing mechanism failure. Brace for impact.
Oh, God. Ooh, what is that? Oh yeah, also, hello, big gas giant in the sky. It's far too close. Like, it's far too close. It would not appear that large in the sky. Are you, like, already dead or no? Water slug.
Filters brine into drinkable fresh water. This may be an adaptation to the seawater's anomalously high viral load.
I know about the virus part. I'm not gonna talk about it though. Okay, I will say, virus part. Virus shit. Gonna hear that a lot? That is the big thing I worked on. So let's explore and check stuff out. Oh, I remember this. Oh, I forget how these like corals work, but this was one of the things I helped on. The like weird bubble corals that have like hollow insides. Oh, I hate that, I hate that, I hate that cliff, I hate that cliff. I should not look at that cliff.
It's not a long-term solution, but for now, we have to triage.
Okay, yeah. So, this planet's biosphere is deeply, deeply hostile to Earth life, as you might be able to tell. The water is full of heavy metals. I don't think they've brought it up yet, but it's also radioactive as shit. There's the whole virus thing, which needs discussion later, but yeah, okay.
Standing by to reprint you.
I want to deliberately drown myself because the find a convenient way to die quest.
Reprint complete. You have experienced conditions in
Oh God!
with life. Your brain state has been restored to a new body.
I love the hard cut to being reprinted. That's so good. I know some stuff about the life on the planet, but is mostly limited to the microbiology, which is what I worked on. Oh yeah, I like actually gave the team a whole thing on like possible uses for lead in hypothetical biochemistries. Oh, that reminds me, we finally have an excuse here for why there's like silicone rubber that we can get from like biological organisms. Unlike in the first game. Your contract. I, the pawn, agree that I accept Altera Alms as my sponsor for resettlement out of the former Mongolian independent states. That I release Altera Corporation from any liability for permanent death or military conscription by the Trans-System Federation, if caused by the ongoing conflict with the Kara Xenosystem. Damn. Oh, at night, that's so pretty. Once again, we're closer than is realistic, but it's very cool. There's something with fibrous pulp, and it might be
There is no
whip
sign of
organ.
plant life on this world. This waxy fiber is closer to vinyl or latex than cellulose. Committed vegetarians should expect protein.
Oh yeah, that was also a thing I worked on. I mentioned biopolymers being one of my things, and I provided advice on like weird biopolymers. And yeah, basically, a lot of life here is basically made out of plastic. I do believe it's supposed to be a modified form of polypropylene. What are you? Periscopic clown crab. That's very cool. Sorry, what is that description? Oily salad, liminal flavor between cinnamon and plastic bag. Bowel effects unknown.
You cannot digest this world's life. You must locate a gene donor and adapt its enzymes.
Ha! Yeah! Yeah, you can't digest it. Not evolved to eat plastic? Yep. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can eat. I like how it's just like, accept that you're gonna die repeatedly. Early on. We need like a gene for like polypropylase or some shit. Me just making up enzyme names on the fly. Could, gas giants could be mins or not. Mathematically, an ice giant could orbit a gas giant, but those are fundamentally different type of planet than a gas giant.
For you. Just help us eat.
Print lost to suffocation. Reprinting.
Damn, that's a crazy last message. I have so much I want to say knowing more about the virus, but she was talking to the virus, if you couldn't tell from the message. She said like, she said something about someone saying you're just a hallucination, just a virus. No apparent food supply. It may have derived chemical energy from minerals, but if so, the bacterial symbiote is fled. Living tissues infected with large RNA virus similar to earthly giant C viruses. The bore's anatomy includes receptor sites that encourage viral infection and reproduction. Further analysis required. Assessment. Entirely unknown organism. Investigate further. Determine origin and ecological niche. Damn. Wait. So, she offered herself to this organism in exchange for, quote-unquote, letting us eat. And now I can stick my hand in there and get in a genetic adaptation that allows me to digest native life. I wonder what's going on with that. Anyways, so I wanted to say, so if you're familiar with microbiology, you probably know that defining species for bacteria and unicellular protozoa can be sometimes complicated because they sometimes share genes or sets of genes across species through a process called horizontal gene transfer. A core idea, like, that I helped participate in, like, working at the mechanisms for, but a core idea from early in the development and, like, conceptualization of this planet's biosphere is that macroscopic life here participates in horizontal gene transfer and can transfer genes between species, and is also capable of transferring them to humans through a mechanism that is very wild, which I mentioned a big document I wrote, and that was like, the big document was basically just about how it actually works to spread genes to humans. The central bulb is similar to an enormous cell nucleus. It contains gene sequences from organisms in the surrounding environment. The combs release a large RNA virus into the seawater. The virus, designated Proteavirus, infects all other organisms in the ecosystem. Infected organisms produce new copies of the virus, which return to the angel comb, carrying stolen genes from infected hosts. The angel comb conducts genetic piracy on a massive scale. The angel comb draws food from the Titan rock borer below. Angel combs may be obligate parasites of Titan rock borers. Assessment. Touch central bulb for genetic adaptation. Further investigation urgently required. Note. Users may be curious about the symbiosis between earthly parasitic wasps and poly-DNA viruses. The wasp's own genome contains the viral genome, allowing the wasp to create the virus for use in its reproductive cycle. Yes! Oh, I do need to say, the databank is not a reliable narrator. These are not written, like, the databank entries are not written from the perspective of, like, omniscient observer. They're written from very much the perspective of, like, the computer, figuring stuff out. Osseo-integral metal can be fused directly and safely to bone. This is correct. And so the Kara Ono-Xenorhinoid both incorporate titanium into their biology. Oh, so this is technically, so I guess this is taking place around the same time as natural selection too, actually. Both coral polyps and sponge cells seem to carry the full genome of both organisms, blurring the definition of a species. It is unknown how a single organism can contain genomes for two biologically distinct species. The two cannot reproduce sexually to combine their genes. Assessment. Interesting data point. Lichen doesn't have, like, copies of each other's species in its DNA. That's the real weird part. This is a biological impossibility on Earth and suggests that the genetic inheritance functions differently on this world. Yes. It certainly does do that. It certainly does function differently. I say it with no small amount of pride, being the one who wrote the way genetic inheritance works on this world. A lot of strangely high purity titanium chunks. Canonically, it's biologically concentrated, I believe was the excuse. When I, like, mentioned this, like, is there gonna be, like, random titanium chunks? We, like, had a brief conversation about it, and we're like, yeah, it's probably, like, bacteria concentrating it or some shit. The ocean is a soup? Yeah, I guess you can say that. In this case, it's a soup of heavy metals and radioactive isotopes and macroviruses. What are you? Hostile, apparently. Ah! Oh, passive. Not, like, actively predatory. It's not hunting me. It's just being defensive.
So part of this coral just decided it was a crab? Like if you live next to something on Proteus, you become related to it.
Astute observation, audio log man. It's some interesting bio bullshit that I wrote. I was the one who wrote it. That was my role. Not like this actual text, but like the document on Proteavirus and how it works that the writers based this off. That was what I did. Special thanks. Vivi Leandra for biochemistry help and retroviral design. I designed the Proteavirus. And I'm super proud. I think it's like some of my best work. Gross genetic transfer. The Proteavirus can reprogram cells of one organism, coral, to behave as and to become cells of another, the coral crab. This is biologically implausible. Nonetheless, it occurs. Horizontal gene exchange. Horizontal gene transfer is the exchange of DNA between organisms other than parent and child. It occurs frequently on Earth, largely but not exclusively between microbes. The human placenta depends on a capsule protein that was inserted into ancestral mammals by a retrovirus infecting a sperm or egg cell. Evolutionary catalyst. The Proteavirus may have evolved earlier than terrestrial viruses, granting its root-level access to biology on this world. If it constantly exchanges genes between species, it may increase the pace of evolution, allowing natural selection to more rapidly search the space of all possible life forms for the best adapted. But most changes are destructive, not helpful. Viruses as free riders. While viruses are common and evolutionarily important, they are parasites and ultimately consume the host resources for little return. Alpha ecosystem should data generation halt. User-facing error. Script hook found in bad memory address. Executing failed. Resuming generation. Manage its viral infections into productive roles. Assessment. Ambiguous. Proteavirus may provide life on this world with an evolutionary advantage at the cost of pervasive viral infection. Proteavirus pluripotens. Large retrovirus discovered in the seawater of this world. Radically dissimilar to terrestrial life. Complex genetic structure. Codons are 4 base pairs compared to terrestrial DNA RNA 3. The core viral genome is 1.4 million base pairs stored in numerous strands. Large for an RNA virus, that's an understatement, is gigantic. Rapid changes in RNA conformation prevent further analysis. Accessory genomes contain sequences from infected organisms, primarily seawater microbes. Function unknown. The viral capsule is built from a polymer commonly produced by life on this world. The human immune system cannot lyse this polymer, so Proteavirus will resist an immune reaction. But because Proteavirus does not share a genetic code with human life, there is no risk of cross-infection. I'm sure about that, PDA. The not being able to lyse the viral capsule was advice I gave, actually. That was my idea also. I'm sure that holds now that you shoved a bunch of native genes into your cells. I mean, the question is, how exactly are we shoving the native genes into our cells? The question the PDA has yet to ask is how that angel comb DNA transfer works. A little blue, a little waxy, yeah, well, it's made out of PVC or modified polypropylene, so that notably it's clearly not through the Proteavirus that notably causes horizontal DNA transfer. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy to see all the work I did. Ah! What I am really wondering is if the vitamin B12 plotline made it in. I might be overstepping the bounds by mentioning this, but I'm wondering if that made it in. If you don't know, vitamin B12 is an essential nutrient for humans. You will die without it. It is also an extraordinarily complex molecule that alien life is unlikely to replicate. It also contains cobalt.
Something large is moving nearby.
Something large is moving nearby? Oh! I suppose that's the coral crab. I can swim, it looks like I can swim inside. But not quite. Ah! Did you just hit me away? No, what I'm saying was that the plot line was that you had to find a way to, like, get B12. It looks like there's some amount of exposed tissue in there. That was the thing they were talking about, where like the tissue boundary is like it's not clear what some of the tissue inside is, like whether it's part of the coral or part of the crab. B12 has cobalt in it? Yes, it does. What actually makes bacteria? What actually makes B12? Sorry, I meant to say, anaerobic bacteria do. Actually, a really fun fact about B12. There is no natural dietary source in the diet of modern developed countries. You may know it from you get it from animal products, right? But that's actually just because those are artificially enriched by feeding those animals large amounts of B12. You know where we naturally get B12? You know where like humans before the modern day got B12? Accidentally ingesting dirt, because it's the soil microbes that make B12. But yeah, we can't make our own B12. Most animals can't. But like, without like the relatively sterile environment of like modern food consumption, you will accidentally ingest some dirt and that will contain some B12 in it. And we can't absorb it from like our food? Nope. Well, we can. That's why you get it from meat typically nowadays. And if you're a vegan, you need to supplement it. Because like I said, we feed large amounts of B12 to livestock in order to increase the amount. Well, they naturally contain some B12 because they themselves accidentally consume dirt when they're like eating grass and stuff. But in like the pre-modern era, most of our B12 came from accidental consumption of dirt.
Noah, do not open the seacocks. Noah, acknowledge, please. Do not.
She often asked you to resume your stories when you were interrupted. She made eye contact when she spoke. A considerate woman, and not easily frightened. Signal location uploaded to PDA.
Did the fork of Noah go crazy and start, like, killing people like Hal? Although Hal didn't exactly go crazy, he had contradictory directives. Oh yeah, also the Lucifer Rotzak using radiolysis that way was an idea, because, like, I think it was, like, an idea I at least contributed to, because I remember a conversation with Seth Dickinson about trying to make, like, the whole, like, oxygen belching thing make sense. I'm also wondering specifically if, given everything that's happening here, the Noah no longer recognized them as human or something? The pent more closely resembles life forms discovered in the atmosphere of Venus than any terrestrial organism. Oh yeah, that reminds me, there are vague ideas that there might be life in the atmosphere of Venus, which this is, like, assuming might be true. Tunicate-like animal which collects alcohol from decaying matter to produce a creamy, flavorful mucus. The rough inverse of the Lucifer Rotzak converts alcohols to sugars. Kuromori achieves this with a chemical pathway that does not occur on Earth.
I came to laugh at you.
Aqueous cinnabar provides a source of mercury to oxidize alcohols into simple sugars. Yes, this was my idea, the mercury-mediated pathway! Oh my god, that took me so much research to figure out a viable way to do that.
Stop! Don't do it, please! The kids deserve a chance to live!
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Did he suicide bomb himself in there? Oh, that's f***ed up. That's a real
Kurumori record, very quick. Damn it, there is a riot in Habitat. Japan mantis have explosives.
Oh.
Fire. Good, we're on fire. I have to go. Ganzo! Signal everyone outside to rally at the tadpole pens.
Man, this game really is way darker than the first one, huh? Oh, it's so cute how there's the baby on its back. I love the more dynamic interactions between different creatures. That had to, like, be hard work, actually, to get working. Yeah, it's fantastic, all those paired animations. Like when the, Marrow Breach grabbed the mango. Also, I just realized something, which is that it mentions the Marrow Breach's, like, bone-crushing teeth. But that's not really typical of active predators so much as it is scavengers. Yeah, usually those kind of crushing jaws are, like, an adaptation for scavenging, specifically for eating parts of a carcass that, like, more primary predators can't, or specializing in prey with, like, very heavy armor. Okay, I know exactly what that tree is and how it works, but I don't think I can talk about it before they actually do the early access stuff revealing it. And it's very cool. God, it's so cool, though. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up because I'm getting really tired to a point where I'm having trouble thinking of things to say. This is really fun. I'm gonna keep playing until I exhaust the early access content and talking about, like, my own work. Mind if you haven't joined it yet, I have a Discord. It's very active. I also posted my own original writing there. I will be playing this again. I don't know which slot I'll put it in regularly. I just streamed it today because the game came out today. But I'll, of course, stream it again soon and often, as long as there's more content in early access. Anyways, good night, everybody.